The Bata India's MD and CEO Gunjan Shah threw light on the company's aggressive retail expansion plans and how the company is managing a steady growth amid consumption slowdown. Here's an excerpt of that conversation. Let's take a look.
We are significantly, upping the game on product on many fronts. I think the biggest one is that while we are very strong in terms of associations on comfort, but bringing that out very clearly and backed by technology is the centerpiece of this entire piece, as well as the other piece is premiumization and style. And I think, the kind of work that we have done in terms of also recently in terms of declogging the whole pipeline, making things far more, how do you say, a little more sharper in terms of the kind of assortment that we offer to consumers across the length and breadth of our stores, I think is a very large part of this reset. Other piece that's there is retail excellence and retail expansion, right? We have been adding stores to the extent of about 100-150 stores every year, and that continues apace despite some, moderation in consumption in the last couple of years. And we expect that to bounce back. So I think that's going to be a large piece.
Do you feel, Gunjan, that Bata's legacy perception as a value or family brand somewhere limits premiumization, especially at a time when global brands are driving very aspirational demand?
See, it's a double-edged piece, right? I mean, there are a whole bunch of consumers who are looking for basically affordability, especially in times of high inflation, etc. We obviously have, as I said, parts of the portfolio. There is a fast growing subset of the portfolio, which is Hush Puppies that caters to the premium end of the consumers. But there are consumers at every level of the pyramid, and I don't see a reason why you should not cater to all of them.
So is that the strategy, cater to all?
Yeah, we want to be the, everyday footwear for everyone in the family.
And this is across categories. There is no rural, urban, premium, etc. You want to be an India brand, is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Gunjan, when I talk about multi-brand retail formats like, Bata-owned stores, online marketplaces, large format retailers, where do you see the sharpest competition emerging for you, and what is it that you're doing about it?
No, I think competition is there everywhere. My sense is, whether it's offline or online, both of them, I think competition is very welcome, and even more nimbler startups are also there. So I think we do keep an eye on them also. Obviously, e-commerce has unlocked it even more and made it much easier for, to consumers to, at least experience different propositions and different brands and different offerings. However, as I said, I think, they only propel us to do better. And many of these products / propositions that I've talked about have actually even got inspired from other multi-brand outlets or maybe some of the startups, etc. So we keep looking at them, and I think it's great to have competition.
I want to talk about Hush Puppies because you mentioned it. It has a very strong brand equity globally, but hasn't quite scaled proportionately, I would say, in India. What's your plan for unlocking Hush Puppies' potential through the truest? And is there a brand need, or rather a need for a brand refresh, you would think?
See, so we've had an association, Aisha, that goes a very long while back with Hush Puppies. It is, I would say, in that segment of $50 plus, right, which is significantly premium for an Indian consumer. It occupies a pride of place. It's most probably one of the largest networks at that price point, at about 150 stores and growing. In fact, I think in the last couple of years with the premiumization trend in the consumption journey of India, right, I think it's expanded really fast. We were less than 100 till about 2.5 years back. So I think this brand has got significant legs to grow going forward.
Are you also exploring new global brands to bring into the Indian portfolio? I mean, the way other retailers have added multiple international labels as well?
Yeah, we keep looking for it, Aisha. Our focus is on our own brands, right? But as I said, we've got a long, proud association with, let's say, a brand like Hush Puppies, and there's no reason why we should not look at it for areas where we see a strategic, how do you say, interplay as well as, complementarity.
But, when I look at your margins and financials, Gunjan, you were operating at 17 to 18% margins in 2022, which is great. But can you expand margins to say 30 over 5 years?
See, now we have come to the financial part, Aisha, right? So I think the piece that is there is that it's going to be on two levers. Now, I'll not give a forward-looking forecast, but I don't see a reason why that trajectory cannot come in right. I think there is a lot of work that's happened in terms of back-end simplification, right? So starting with this whole piece, as I said, of declogging the inventory pipeline. Now we are at one of the most best in industry kind of inventory turns that we have in the industry. Now that makes our entire system lighter. Our ability to get new products to consumers is much better. Our ability to tap into the right kind of demand and therefore catering to it also is far more agile. It also results in significant amount of reduction and therefore gross margin expansion from a markdown as well as full price sale realization perspective. So we will see that lever pan out. We have been at it for the last 18 months and that should give us benefits. The second large piece that is there is this whole piece of supply chain transformation, which is to do with the kind of manufacturing setup that we've got, right? Historically, and it worked well for us in the past, right? We had a significant amount of large factories of our own. I think this whole piece of being stylish, more contemporary, getting faster collabs and collections into consumers in the stores, right, demands more agility. And therefore, we have been in a process of basically simultaneously rationalizing static factories, but also consolidating, expanding the ones that are more agile, etc. And that piece, I think, will also unlock a lot of value. We have incurred a significant amount of, how do you say, consolidation on some of these spots, etc. And that I think should pan out. So both of these levers, I guess, are the largest pieces from an efficiency perspective that should help us. As we look at these margins going forward.
Gunjan, with the government now signaling this massive shift from capex to consumption, just every announcement is about a consumption fillip and a bump up. Does that macro tailwind directly benefit you? Are you already seeing early signs of discretionary demand coming back?
Yeah, so I think it's a very welcome step. I think it's a series of steps that the government has taken, very well required, right? And we did see, post-COVID bump that we saw in sales as well as rebound, right? There was a moderation for a few quarters, etc. But I think with this GST step that has just been done in September, while there was disruption in this entire transition, I think it's going to be structurally demand enhancing, and we should see effect of it coming through even in the footwear industry as well as to Bata itself. Almost about 80% of our portfolio is positively impacted by the GST transition and the reduction in the rates. And we have been obviously extremely agile and fast in passing it on. So we are really looking forward to the benefits that will come through. I am pretty confident it'll up the overall trend of the growth rate and the benefits even to Bata.
Right. But tell me, Gunjan, Bata has one of the largest footwear store networks in India, right? What is the next layer of expansion? More urban, more rural, or more franchise-driven?
Actually, a combination of all three, right? And I think there's enough opportunity in India all across, right? India is urbanizing at a very fast pace. It's urbanizing not only in the bigger cities and therefore the kind of malls, etc., that are being set up, right? But also, you won't believe the space at which the urbanization is happening in the smaller towns, right? Towns which are basically between, let's say, 50,000 to 5 lakhs are expanding really fast. Not only the population in these towns, but also the number of such towns, right? And that is also very large opportunity, especially with the ambition that we've got that, we want to cater to everyone every day, right? And I think the last 5 years or 4 years journey that's there of, franchise, which was less than 100, now it's, very close to touching 700 stores. So it's one of the largest franchise networks by self, right? Despite, we already have 1,300 company-owned stores. So you will see a lot of expansion across both these segments and driven by both the COCO as well as the franchise model. The smaller towns obviously will prefer the franchise model. It's far more efficient, as well as obviously, as I said, it collaborates and roots in the local entrepreneurs, right? And they do a wonder job for us.
But Gunjan, how many additional pin codes can Bata realistically enter over the next 3 to 5 years? And where would the next 10 to 15% of incremental store-led growth come from?
I don't know about pin codes, but we are at about, so across, let's say, very close to, I think, about 1900 plus 1950 odd EBO stores that we have, exclusive brand outlets. We would be covering roughly at about 600 odd towns, right? My sense is that this can easily, in the next about 3 years or 3 to 5 years, be at about 1,000 towns, right? The pace at which this urbanization is going on. So that gives you an idea. I'm sure we can translate it into pin codes also.
That's the word coming in from the management of Bata, and you can catch the full interview only on ET Now. But on that note, we need to slip into a